So, hello there, and welcome back to yet another Night of the Movies podcast. And in these podcasts, I talk all things movies and TV, and whatever I want, whenever I want. And in today's podcast, I am reviewing the wonderful story of Henry Sugar, the short film directed by Wes Anderson, which is currently streaming on Netflix. But before I do that, I should say what I say at the start of any podcast I do, which is, if you are watching this podcast on YouTube, hello there to my viewers, but you prefer to listen to your podcasts, well, guess what? You can with this one too, at Night of the Movies on Spotify, and if you are already listening to this podcast on Spotify, and you there to podcast listeners, then you can also check the podcast out visually on my YouTube channel at Night of the Movies on that platform as well. Likewise, wherever you may be watching or listening to the podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the podcast, of course, and leave me some feedback on things to improve on in future podcasts, because there's always things to improve on, and feedback is, as ever, much appreciated. So, let's get into it. The wonderful story of Henry Sugar. So, as already mentioned, this is the new short film from Wes Anderson. And Wes Anderson, if you don't know already, has directed films such as The Grand Budapest Hotel, Rushmore, which is one of my all-time favourite films, The Royal Tenenbaums, which I'm a big fan of, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Bottle Rocket, Hours of Dogs, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, which I think is wonderful, The Darjeeling Limited, which I absolutely adore, The French Dispatch, and also Asteroid City, which he directed early this year, and I still haven't seen because it wasn't showing at my local multiplex, and so I knew I'd have to travel to see it, and it just didn't fit in my times at the time. So I haven't seen his latest film, the one of his films, which came out this year, because it did actually come out this year, and I'm hoping I see it by the end of 2023. I'm hoping I do, because it may have been one of my favourite films of this year. It may, and I want to see that. I want to see if it ends up being one of my favourite films of the year. And I want to see it by the end of the year, and I haven't got a chance to yet. So the last Wes Anderson film I saw was The French Dispatch. Which I saw in 2021 in the cinema, and I didn't love, to be honest. I didn't love that film. I thought it was okay. I didn't dislike it. But for me, it missed that Wes Anderson wonder, and that's what his best films have, because I'm a fan of Wes Anderson as a director. I love The Grand Budapest Hotel. That was my first introduction to him as a filmmaker, and I just adored that film, and I was watching it with a huge smile on my face when I saw it the first time, and every time I've watched it since, I appreciate that film more and more. I admire it more and more. And over the past couple of years, I've watched some of his other films. I watched Rushmore for the first time, and that's now become one of my all-time favourite films. It's probably my top 20, maybe top 15 favourite films of all time. I also, as already mentioned, love The Darjeeling Limited. I adore that film to pieces. And I really like The Royal Tenenbaums because it's wonderful and poignant at the same time. It's a very good film, that, and I think it's very much underrated. Although I haven't loved all of his films, as I've already mentioned as well. I haven't loved all of his films. I don't love Fantastic Mr. Fox. I've only seen it once, but I don't remember liking it too much. And I'm not really... I didn't really like The French Dispatch. So, I've been a bit up and down on him recently, and I've started to develop this problem I have with his films as well, where he has these huge famous casts, and I struggle to differentiate between the actor and the character. Say Bill Murray pops up in a Wes Anderson film, I'm struggling to differentiate between Bill Murray and the character he's actually playing. And because Wes Anderson has these huge famous casts for his film, I mean, just look at the casts for Asteroid City and The French Dispatch. They're humongous. So because he has these gigantic casts for his film, these gigantic famous casts, I sometimes struggle with them, and actually that whole famous cast problem I've had with him that I've spoken about on this channel already has put me off his films recently. Saying all that, haven't really spoken about it yet, but saying all that, I was looking forward to this film though. I was looking forward to the wonderful story of Henry Sugar because it looked like it was going to be right up my alley. You know, I saw a trailer for this film, or it was a teaser for the film, or something like that. Yeah, I saw some marketing for the film, which got me interested. I really like the cast. I like the fact that it's a smaller, but still famous cast. You know, you've got the likes of Benedict Cumberbatch, Ray Fiennes. You've got Sir Ben Kingsley, Richard Ayoade, who I always love from the IT crowd, and also Dev Patel. You've got this great small cast in there, full of actors that I am a big fan of, and I wanted to see this film because, I don't know, I heard a lot of good reactions about it, and it was also coming out on Netflix. When I heard it was coming out on Netflix, that got me more interested, because I knew then I wouldn't have to go to the cinema to see it, and I love going to the cinema. I love going to the cinema so much. I made it sound there like I don't. I love going to the cinema. But the problem is, my local cinema doesn't show Wes Anderson's latest films. It hasn't. And so I have to travel like an hour and a half to 2 hours to go and see one of Wes Anderson's latest films, which is why it was one of the reasons I didn't go and see Asteroid City. So I was looking forward to watching a new Wes Anderson film from the comfort of my own home, from the comfort of my bedroom, which I'm in right now. So, yes, I was looking forward to this film quite a bit. And the Google plot synopsis for The Wonderful World of Hemi Sugar goes as follows. Hemi Sugar, played by Benedict Cumberbatch in the film, a wealthy man decides to take on an extraordinary challenge. He wants to master an extraordinary skill in order to cheat at gambling games. And that's basically all I need to know about this film. And I really liked this film. I really liked it because it reminded me of why I liked Wes Anderson's film in the first place. Because I've forgotten about that recently. I've forgotten about why I admired Wes Anderson's films for so long. I've forgotten about that after The French Dispatch, because it kind of put me off Wes Anderson films, to being completely honest. And I was watching this one with a huge grin on my face. And it's only 40 minutes long. It's a short film, but there's so much going on in it. And yet at the same time, it's funny and it's touching, and it has that Wes Anderson wonder I've been missing for quite a while now. I mean, I know it's not that long, actually. It's 2 years now. It's been 2 years since I watched The French Dispatch, and I've been missing that Wes Anderson wonder, you know, after that film, because it put me off watching Wes Anderson films. And then I watched this one, I was like, oh, that's why I liked Wes Anderson in the first place. And the thing is, I have so much to say about this film. Even though it's only a short film, I have so much to say about it, which is a strong positive. As what he mentioned, it's funny and it's touching, and it's postmodern in a very Wes Anderson way, but in a way that only Wes Anderson really makes that work. And, you know, it also feels a bit like a jigsaw puzzle that comes together in a very Wes Anderson fashion. I love the way this film all comes together, and, you know, it does at times feel like a play. It feels like a play with all these moving pieces, even to the point that you have the same actors playing numerous roles. You know, I think Sir Ben Kingsley plays 2 roles in this film. I think Benedict Cumberbatch plays 2 roles, and I'm pretty sure Ray Fiennes plays 2 roles, and so does Richard Ayoade and Dev Patel. They all play 2 different roles in this film, and you even see on screen, you know, the stage men, if you will, coming on and changing the set, and you see people's costumes change, and you see all the props get brought on and off. You know, there's a lot of that in the film where it looks and feels like a stage play. Usually that would be a criticism for me. Usually that would bother me. But it didn't. It actually added to my enjoyment in the film. And also, it does have that cast. It does have that cast where you know those actors from different things. Like, I'll always remember Benedict Cumberbatch from the BBC Sherlock series. I love that series to pieces. It's one of my favourite TV shows of all time. So whenever Benedict Cumberbatch pops up in something, I'm going, that's Sherlock. And I did have that a bit in this film. And it did affect me on my first watch, because I've seen this one twice now and I got onto that very shortly. It did affect me in my first watch. But in my second viewing of this film, it added to my enjoyment. Same with Richard Ayoade, same with Dev Patel, who I'll always know from Slumdog Millionaire, same with Sir Ben Kingsley, who, what do I know? Well, of course, Schindler's List, and same with Ray Fiennes, who I'll always remember as Voldemort. When I'm watching these actors, I do find it hard to differentiate still. But it didn't bother me so much in this film. And I love the world of the film, I love the story, I love how it was told, because, again, it's a bit postmodern, but, I don't know, it worked for me. And I've seen it twice now, because the first time I watched it, I was like, whoa, I'm enjoying this, but, I'm going to have to watch it again so I can fully get my head around it, because it moves at such a swift pace. And then I watched it a second time, and I enjoyed it even more. And you know what? I'll probably watch it a third and a fourth time over the next week. I probably will. I mean, yeah, I had such a wonderful time with it. And, I don't think it's brilliant. I think that because it's a short film, it limits itself. It doesn't have any breathing space, and it moves at such a pace that you don't grasp all the details. It's similar to a Wallace and Gromit film, like Wallace and Gromit: The Wrong Trousers, or Close Shave, or Matter of Loaf and Death, where it moves at such a pace that you're not grasping everything. And because it's a short film, that actually made me like it, but at the same time, though, it was also to its detriment, because I'm watching it and it moves at such a pace, I'm just not picking up everything, and I do wish it had a bit more breathing space where I could just settle into this world a bit more. And because it's so fast, it didn't quite grab me the same way the Darjeeling Limited, Grand Budapest Hotel, and Rushmore did, because it is so fast. And it also, and this isn't really a criticism, but also feels like this is part of a grander thing. Pardon me, it's part of a grander thing that Wes Anderson is doing. It feels like we're going to get more of these kind of stories from Wes Anderson on Netflix within the next couple of months. I mean, I don't know if he will, because I'm being completely honest, I hadn't heard of this film until a couple of months ago. I hadn't really heard about it. I heard little things about it, but not really much. I hadn't heard of this film until a couple of months ago when it premiered at, I want to say, Venice? I'm not sure if it premiered there, but in fact, it premiered at one of the film festivals. That's the point I'm making. It premiered at one of the film festivals to great acclaim, and that got me interested in it. And then when I heard it come out on Netflix, I got more interested in it, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, though, the point I'm making is I hadn't heard about this film, though, long before it came out. And I'm wondering if there's other short films like this, which Wes Anderson has got in the pipeline. I mean, I don't know. But at the same time, though, this feels episodic, and it leaves you wanting another Wes Anderson short film like this. And that's a positive. It is a positive, because I sat there at the end and went, you know what? I would want another story just like that from Wes Anderson, put out on Netflix again, and I think I'll get so much more out of it. I think I'll get so much out of another story like this. So it felt episodic, and it feels like there's more of these coming. I mean, I don't know if there is. Maybe they're going to wait to see the reaction to this, and maybe they'll make more like it. I just don't know. Maybe Wes Anderson already has some shot. I don't know. Yet still, I was watching this, and I got to the end, and I felt like I wanted to see another one just like this. And it also, I don't know the source material that this film is based on. I don't, and yet the film felt true to the source material, even to the point that characters, well, they speak. It's a bit hard to explain, but it feels very true to the source material, and I don't know the source material, but I liked how it was done. It's almost like a storybook was being told to you. And I can see why that might annoy some people, but I actually liked that. And I loved the colours of the film, the way it was shot, the way it looked, the performances, and the way these actors give off pathos in the film is just, it's great. And seeing, it's just, there's something about a Wes Anderson film where when it works, you know? And this film reminded me of why I liked Wes Anderson, which is why I liked this film. And even so, I do have some problems in it. Even so, I do have some problems with this film. Even so, I don't think it's brilliant, and even so, it did take me 2 viewings to fully get my head around it. And to be honest, I still don't think I got my head around it, even though it's not Wes Anderson's best work. I'm not saying it is whatsoever. I really liked it because it had that Wes Anderson wonder and that Wes Anderson humour and joy that I have been missing. And it reminded me why I liked his films. And that is why I enjoyed The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, I'm going to give it a 7.8 out of 10. This film isn't going to be for everybody. But at the same time, though, if you've got Netflix, I would recommend you watch it. I would recommend you check out this film. It's only 40 minutes long. It's not a long film, or it's around the 40-minute mark. Anyway, it might be slightly longer. But the point is, it's around the 40-minute mark. It's not a long film. It's not a full-length feature film. And I think it's one of those films where you might watch it the first time, it might not totally kick in, and then it starts to kick in over time. I think it's one of those films which grows on you. At least, yeah, that's why I think about it anyway. I really liked it because it reminded me of why I liked Wes Anderson. And I had a wonderful time watching it. Yeah, I really did. Even the things that would usually bother me about a film like this didn't. Like the fact that it feels like a play just didn't really bother me. And I've been talking about this film for over 16 minutes. It's only a short film and I end up rambling about it, but that just shows you how much I had to talk about it and how much I wanted to talk about it because I liked it so much. And so, yeah, did enjoy this film, and it's probably my favourite Wes Anderson film since The Grand Budapest Hotel, which is a surprise to say. Anyway, I really enjoyed the wonderful story of that's what it's called, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, because it reminded me of why I liked Wes Anderson, and it reminded me of that Wes Anderson wonder which I have been missing. And so, as what he said, I'm going to give The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, how many times I'm going to say that title in this podcast today, I'm going to give The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, say it again, I'm going to give it a 7.8 out of 10 from me. Anyway, guys, that is it for the podcast for today. If you have seen The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section below. Maybe you despise this film. Maybe you hate it. If that's the case, that's fine. Let me know why in the comment section below, because I'd love to hear some varying thoughts on this film. But if you did love it or you really enjoyed it like I did, please let me know why in the comment section below as well. Anyway, guys, thank you as always for watching or listening to this podcast. And if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like, subscribe on this podcast. I look forward to many more podcasts coming very, very soon on this channel. As what he said, thank you as always for watching or listening, and I will see you guys again soon. But bye for now. Bye.